The World Without Visas. Around the World with Valery Shanin. The travel across China became the next stage of the World Without Visas project, within which Valery Shanin travels only around the countries, visa-free for Russians. On this travel, his fellow travelers were Mikhail Ivanov from Alma-Ata, Mainur Klemantieva from the island of Sakhalin, and Ivan Obaskalov from Surgut. China, the Tea Way. Part 2. There is an old Chinese saying, if you visit the 5 sacred mountains, then you won't need to go in the mountains anymore. And after having visited the Huangshan Mount, there is no need to go to either of those 5 mountains. The main entrance is located on the south side. We are going up the northern. This is why there are not many tourists here. But it is fortunate. In China, you begin to appreciate the rare opportunity to appear far from crowds of people. The 4-hour trek to the Huangshan top, from one step to another, around the turn, one more turn, higher and higher.
За поворотом еще один поворот. Все выше и выше и выше.
There are many tourists on the top. There are also hotels here. No need to set up the tent. Majority of tourists go up the mountain by the cable car. There are only the devotees of healthy lifestyles on the track. For them, it is not the way to save money, but a fine opportunity to have something like morning exercises. The loaded porters walk up only for the sake of economy. Human labor is underappreciated in China. The porters are cheaper than the cable car. The city of Qixing, situated on the southern slopes of the Huangshan Mounts in the riverheads of Xinanzhang, was a large cultural center in the Middle Ages. Now it is the museum city of classical Chinese architecture. In China, it isn't accepted to showcase your own private life to anybody. All houses hide behind high fences here too. But after the city was turned into a museum under the open sky, any gawk can enter any house without asking. We are leaving further to the south, by the Chinese bus route between the towns of settlement type. Not only Chinese live in China, they are representatives of over 100 nationalities and ethnic minorities. In the town of Daseyun, most of the population are not Chinese. Here live the representative of Xi people, one of the 56 officially recognized ethnic minorities. These people have their own territory, however small. The Tsininshesky Autonomous County. The town of Daseyun is very small. There is only one cobblestone paved street, built up with shabby stalls and several lanes branching from it. The source of welfare is the river. It is good for fishing, and in recent years they also organize raftings for tourists. In the southwestern part of the province of Fujian, each family or clan of Hawk people lives in one common house, more similar to a fortress. They use regular earth as the construction material. The first earth fortresses appeared in the 10th century. They were called tuloa. These constructions, original by their form and construction technology, turned out so solid and comfortable for living that they had been built up till the end of the 20th century. The tools can be most different, most often round, in the form reminiscent of a bagel. It is more rare to see square, rectangular, pentagonal, octagonal, or semicircular ones. The best example of majestic earth constructions are gathered in the tourist village of Kautu. People continue to live in them. The fortresses, constructed of simple clay, are almost unapproachable. There is everything inside them necessary for autonomous living for several months. The entrance to the village is for a charge. The inhabitants of some Tuloa also strive to make some additional profit. They sell souvenirs or openly ask for tips, allegedly for their cleaning services. The city of Zhangjiang is rather small according to Chinese scales. There are only 7 million residents here. Tourists get here only when transiting on the way to Hainan Island. The second largest island of China is in the South China Sea. It lies approximately at the same latitude as the American Hawaii. It is the only tropical island in China. There are no competitors to it and won't be any as far as to a beach resort. In recent years, the Chinese tried to bring to the island part of the foreign tourists sunbathing in the resorts of Thailand and Vietnam. Haikou, the largest city of the Hainan Island, although rather small according to the Chinese scales, a little over 1 million people. In the old center, there are the preserved buildings constructed at the end of the 19th, beginning of the 20th century, canals, artificial lakes, and parks. But most part of the city is occupied by numerous little shops and street kitchens. Hot food is cooked here in front of the potential buyers. Sanya is a unique city for China. It is not only the most southern city of the island of Hainan, but also the most southern city of the country, practically Chinese Sochi. It has been doomed to become the main seaside resort for its nature and geography. There are many Russians in recent years here. In the district of Dadongai, even the salespeople in tea shops speak Russian. Sanya became the last Chinese city for Mikhail Ivanov. He ought to return home, and Valery Shanin and Mino Klemantieva go to Guangzhou to meet their new travel companion. My name is Ivan. I'm from the city of Surgut. I'm very happy to be able to join on this journey. The trip to China is the first travel abroad for him. Guangzhou became the first Chinese port open for Europeans, and the local Cantonese cuisine became the first Chinese cuisine that the inhabitants of Europe got acquainted with, not out of second hands, but directly. Super, like a shrimp, only over-dried. The Cantonese cuisine is known better outside of China than Beijing or Shanghai ones. The menus of the vast number of Chinese restaurants in the States and Europe contain specifically the dishes of Cantonese cuisine. There is not any raw vegetable salads. All products are steamed or cooked, and more often made on the grill, deep-fried or pan-fried. Now we will be going by the night bus. Probably we are up for unforgettable impressions. We will see soon. The night will show. I thought that it would be a torture before, and here we've got the shortened places. We will sleep bent to suffer again in the Chinese sleeping bus. The city of Guilin, located on the Lijiang riverbank, is among the most popular tourist centers of China. There are several original dishes in Guilin. The most popular of them is the local rice noodles, well known all over the country. We are going to eat it now. We are going to learn what it's like. It is made of rice flour with the addition of vegetable oil. It is boiled in a broth together with soup, with add-ons of pork or beef. Then it is put in a plate filled with the same broth and topped up with various additives: garlic, peanuts, pepper, marinated garden radish, beans, hot chili pepper, pieces of boiled meat, germinated soybeans, and green onions. In each Chinese park there are mountains and waters. Both are abundant in Guilin. The Qixing Gongyuan Park, or the Park of Seven Stars, the biggest in the city. Its total area is about 40 hectares. The Chinese used the picturesque piece of the nature on its own, had it improved a little, by planting it with especially beautiful bushes, trees and flowers, and later laid paths and placed sculptures. Here there are caves and grottos, small rivers and picturesque falls, rocks and the river bank of Lijiang and the woods with wild monkeys. There are a lot of most different parks in Guilin. They are nearly similar to each other, but there are also differences. The park with the name that can be translated as A Lonely Beauty is in the center of Guilin. The most noticeable sight of this fairly small park is the Lonely Beauty itself. The rock of bizarre shape is called this way. The rock is remarkable not only by its view opening from the top, it also has a cave. Long time ago, there used to be a temple inside the Taiping Cave, which means the cave of the world in translation. Local princesses prayed there, performed sacrifice ceremonies, and read fortunes. The tea from the flowers of Osmanthus is very little known in Europe. As an additive to tea, they use fragrant Osmanthus. It is also called fragrant or tea olive. Osmanthus tea is cooking here. Here we have boiled water. We pour Osmanthus, then add boiled water, and we solemnly try what turned out. It's not similar to anything. Osmanthus is considered to be the symbol of romantic love, but it is also a medicinal plant. Tea from the flowers of Osmanthus normalizes metabolism, improves work of the pancreas, and stimulates rejuvenescence of skin cells. So we are on the tea way, drinking different tea that we did not know about, to know now. In the evenings, all residents and tourists stream to the coast of an amazing lake. It looks especially picturesque in the dark. All buildings of the original architecture are brightly illuminated, and the ugly ones, they are there too, get lost in the gloom. Small cruise boats with tourists scurry around the lake, lit up as Christmas trees. Only thanks to the skill of captains, they squeeze somehow under the low-arched bridges. It is known that Chinese like most of all to grow rice and to admire picturesque landscapes. Sometimes these two occupations are combined in one place. Some Chinese plant rice and others look at how picturesquely they do it. The most charming rice plantations become popular tourist destinations. Since ancient times, rice cultivation only gave the chance to peasants to make ends meet. They began to grow rich only when tourists started to flow. Private houses are reconstructed into hotels, restaurants, and gift shops are built nearby. Two villages, Dazhai and Tiantu, have merged in a single tourist enclave, Pin'an. There are many rice terraces in its vicinities. 1 week won't be enough to see all of them. Rice is the most effective crop. It gives the maximum quantity of useful biomass from a square meter. However, it is the most labor-consuming in cultivation. Rice growing is still poorly mechanized in China. Rice has to grow in water during the most part of the period of its maturing. It cannot be planted on the fields that have at least 1-2 degrees gradient. Each rice allotment has to be leveled almost with the same care as the modern highway, with millimeter precision. The terraces were arranged not just competently technically, but also picturesquely. The most beautiful of all, perhaps, is called 9 Dragons and 5 Tigers. If to look attentively, it is possible to notice that 9 ridges look like dragons and the 5 mountains surrounding the valley like tigers. On the other side of the village, there are rice terraces with no less magnificent name. 7 stars around the moon. Where did the Chinese see the moon and the stars here? We can only keep guessing. The locals, living over 1,000 years surrounded by rice, had a lot of time to experiment with ways of its processing, cooking, and use. Here, they put rice in bamboo tubes and bake on braziers. It gets soaked in smoke and green bamboo aroma and also receives an original, light, little sweet flavor. Peasants start their new working day on the rice fields, and we are going to the city of Yangzhou. From ancient times, people went down Lijiang River on bamboo raft. Today, rafts are the most popular means of transport here. However, progress has reached here too. The bamboo has been gradually superseded by stronger plastic pipes and oars and rowing poles replaced by motors running on petrol. The rafts are small in size. They are designed for 4 to 6 people at most, plus the driver. There are so many of them that the river reminds us the urban street in a rush hour. It is right-hand traffic here. All rafts sedately follow each other, keeping a distance. Only the most impatient ones go on overtaking. The city is built up with cheap hotels and hostels, restaurants and souvenir kiosks. The most popular local dish is corn pancakes, with vegetables and something meaty in there. It's not spicy. The primary means of tourist transport is bicycle. Every morning, thousands of tourists ride on bicycles around the neighborhood. There is a lot to look at. Temples and caves, rocks and rice fields, lotus plantations and villages. It's possible to whirl infinitely in Yangzhou's vicinities, turning every time at random to the right or to the left. The most beautiful tea plantation in China is located 15 kilometers from Yangzhou, exactly how it's written on its advertising leaflet. Tea plants are growing in long lines on mountain slopes. Some tops look like the small hills towering around the crater of an extinct volcano. The Chinese woman Qixing knows everything about tea. She studied the theory and practiced tea production at Guilinsky University.
Some and for thinner and one shoot, one leaf. Like this, do not use the hair. Don't use your nail. Remember, it's very important. You can tell him it's very, very important. Like this. One shoot, one leaf. Push up. Like this. One shoot, one leaf is the best. The quality is best. And 2 leaves, 1 shoot is the second quality. This one is better than this one. Don't use nail. Don't like this. It's wrong. Don't like this. Pull up. You can eat directly. A little bitter. After bitter, you will feel sweet. Like this. It's called bio tea with without any chemical, also called organic tea. Okay, it's time to work.
It is impossible to perform aerobatics from the first go. Something like this, with such a speed. Tea picking won't make me a millionaire, but it is possible to try what it's like.
Но, по крайней мере, можно попробовать, что это вообще такое.
The leaves grown on plantation are processed right there. It is possible to try the locally made tea during the tea ceremony. In the course of a tea ceremony, the main attention is paid to compliance with the rules of hygiene. All tableware should be carefully rinsed with boiling hot water. The tea leaves are taken not by hands, but with the help of a special wooden spatula. Tea has to be rinsed too. It is topped up with hot water that is poured off almost at once, approximately similar by their sizes. The bus station and the railway station are on the western bank. The central city park is here too. In other countries where tea came by land via the northern provinces of China, this drink is called chai. And in England, where tea got by the sea from the southern provinces, tea. Confucian temples in China are not rare. They are nearly in each city. Confucianism is still one of 3 main religions of the country. The Confucian temple in Luzhou creates a strong impression from the first sight. It was allocated a very prestigious place on the bank of the Lijiang River. From Luzhou, the train will be going to Kunming all night long. All places and sleepers are sold long before departure. Before the train's departure, and only if you are lucky, it is possible to buy a sitting place in the car. We'll have to suffer a little. The main thing, that time is saved. In the evening in Luzhou and in the morning already in Kunming. After a sleepless night, my look, of course, is all tousled. We have slept in our seats.